The number one thing that my family asks for is chips and salsa, or chips and pico de gallo, or chips with some type of sauce that they could dip something in. I'm gonna teach you how to do this at your house so that you never have to buy something from the aisle again. And I'm gonna show you why that's important. Come on, let's go. All right, so I told you that this is pico de gallo, but first I'm gonna show you why I make it homemade every single time. This is the salsa aisle right here. Just as at my local grocery store, I'm here 2 to 3 times every single week, okay? I randomly just grab these couple, and we're gonna grab a couple more and see. So why am I grabbing these? It's because I wanna see what the ingredients are. Check this out. Once you get to the end, potassium chloride, maltodextrin, yeast extract. I don't even know what that, datum? What the heck is even datum? I've never even heard of that before. Here's another example, and this one was actually pretty good. At the end, calcium chloride, citric acid to acidify. I don't know why that's gotta be in there. Here's tapatio. I mean, this is vinegar and peppers. What else could be in there? Sodium benzoate as a preservative. This is the reason why I don't buy these, is because if I can't read it and I don't know what it is, I don't wanna eat it. Let me show you how you can execute homemade pico de gallo at your house right now. All right, so this was not part of the plan, but we were walking on the outside of the grocery store and I came by some of these salsas. They were all in the cold aisle. So I said, Rob, let's stop and let's look at these. Now, come look at this one. Fire roasted tomatoes, jalapeno, pepper, salt, and water. If I were to buy something from the store, let's just say that my video doesn't resonate with you. Let's just say that you don't have a food processor, or you don't want to use all of the time using your knife to cut up tomatoes and onions and cilantro. Come to the outside of the grocery store and find the salsa that doesn't have anything artificial in it. There's a reason why they have to keep it cold, is because there's nothing artificial in it. Now, I do like the salsa. I've had it before, but we're gonna go get the ingredients to make my own salsa. All right, so first ingredient, Roma tomatoes. How do I pick out my Roma tomatoes? Go ahead and look at this bin, Rob. Sometimes in this bin, you're gonna see stuff that has imperfections on it. You'll see stuff that's soft on here. I'm always looking for a tomato that's got good, firm consistency. Now, if they're a little bit soft, that's okay, but I like these nice and firm, so that when I put these in my salsa, and I got 4 in there right now, I'm gonna go 5. When I put these in my salsa, I want them to still be pretty firm and not softening up, because I want to be able to still taste a little bit of that crunch. So first, 5 Roma tomatoes. All right, so the next ingredient is onions. So Rob, take a look at this. We have sweet onions at 98 cents a pound, red onions at $1.28 a pound, white onions at 98 cents a pound, yellow onions at 68 cents a pound. Now that's only a few cents difference. In my experience, I've put in yellow onions every single time. They happen to be the cheapest that are out there. So all you need for this one is a small yellow onion. So 5 Roma tomatoes, 1 onion. So if I learned one thing being on the Food Network on Guy's Grocery Game, every dish that you make has to have some type of acid in it. My acid for my pico de gallo, my salsa, is gonna be the juice of 2 limes. So 5 Roma tomatoes, 1 yellow onion, 2 medium-sized limes. The most important aspect of this entire thing is fresh cilantro. My favorite herb, everyone's favorite herb. That's a lie, because I know that Rob hates cilantro, but it's by far my favorite herb. And you just gotta have 1 healthy bunch that we're gonna put right into this pico de gallo. All right, we are back at home. And you know I had to get the peppers from the garden. 3 jalapenos, 2 serranos. Look at the difference here. So those serranos are real hot boys. I mean, the Scoville units on those, if you don't know what Scoville units, check it out. Scoville units very high equals very hot. Scoville units not so high. But Nick, why are they red? Great question. We're in Arizona. Everything over ripens in the summer very, very quickly. Does it make it different? No. Is it prettier when it's green? Some might say it is, but I also like the red ones. All right, so now, quick recap of everything that we did at the store. This is so simple. 5 Roma tomatoes, 1 medium-sized yellow onion, 2 limes, and you know, I had to slice a couple off because I had a little beer ski before we did this one, so might end up with a little less lime in there. But 1 bunch of cilantro, some salt and pepper, 3 jalapenos, 2 serranos. Now, the number 1 ingredient for this, some type of food processor. This is the Ninja. Some people have the Vitamixes, whatever it is. Even if it makes your smoothies, you could use it. This is what makes this so easy, all right? So watch this. Take these tomatoes. I just cut the top off, right? You don't want that bad top part like this. All I do is cut the tomatoes, cut them in half, cut them in half. That means that there's 4 pieces left. Why cut them in 4 pieces if you're putting them in here? So that when you put them in, they fall all the way to the bottom. So let's do 3 of these tomatoes. And again, all we do is we call this quartering because there's 4 parts. All right, so there's 3 of those. Now let's take this onion, and I'm just kind of layering this in here. And why I'm layering it in here is because I want those blades to do an even amount of work on everything. In fact, if it gets too full, see how like I'm already coming up to the sides here? That's okay. If it gets too full, all we're gonna do is pulse it a little bit and watch, it'll come down. Then we could add more ingredients in there. But right now I still think we could do at least 1 more tomato. So we'll do 1 more tomato. Let's do 2 of the jalapenos. Now, there's a big consensus on this. Do you take the seeds out of the jalapeno or don't you? The seeds is part of what makes it hot. I say we leave them in there. The seeds do not bother me. Again, I just quarter this jalapeno, quarter the jalapeno. So I got 2 of those. Put this on my little trash. Let's do 1 of the serranos right now. And the serranos, I do the same thing, just cut those in 4. And then also, my favorite thing in the kitchen, a board scrape. You got all these in here. Instead of having to use your knife, you'll watch these people go like this. They slide their knife under like this and they're almost cutting themselves on a thing. No, buy this thing. It's $10. Watch, scrape, scrape, in, done. All right, so now I got 1 tomato left. I got half of my onion. I got all my cilantro. I got my lemon juice. But I don't like how high this is getting. See how it's above the blade here, Rob? It's starting to get above that blade. That means I'm just gonna pulse it down. So come around. I'm gonna show you how to pulse this down. So mine happens to say food puree or pulse. Right now, I'm just gonna use that pulse. Now watch, see how high it was? I pulse this 2 or 3 times. Now watch what happens. It'll fall all the way below those blades. And there it is, see? The blades are now exposed. I can re-put the rest of my stuff in there. Okay, so now we got our ingredients below those blades. I'm gonna just quarter the rest of that tomato, peel this onion real quick, chop that boy up a little bit, just a couple, 1, 2, 3, no big deal. Cut it however you want, does not matter. And then let's do the last jalapeno. Gotta have a nice sharp knife if you wanna work quick. All right, now, the juice of these 2 limes, or this 1 3/4 lime, because I have a beer before I film. All right, here we go. Also, if you don't have a juicer, get yourself a juicer. This thing is one of the best tools in the kitchen. Get one in there, all right? A lot of times people cut them in half like that way. I cut them in half the other way. Why? So that they sit up a little bit higher, so that juicer makes contact with it sooner, and I think you just get a much nicer pressure out of that. And that's a lot of lime juice. I love, love, love the citrus flavor in anything that I cook. If you don't like citrus and you just want a little hint of it, just use 1 lime, use half of a lime. You don't want it to be that hot, don't use 2 serrano peppers, just use 1 serrano pepper. You like it less oniony, only use half the onion. The reason I'm showing you the ingredients is these ingredients are gonna work no matter what. You can scale the proportion of how you want to use them. Last, all I do is, I'm gonna take the top off of this pepper and I'm gonna go, that's about 2 teaspoons, I would say, maybe a little bit more than that. And then salt, remember, you could always add salt. So don't over salt this and then be mad at yourself after it's too salty, okay? So I'm just gonna start with 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, 3 teaspoons of salt. Now, instead of pulsing, we're just gonna puree this. And then we're gonna see our final product. Come back around. All right, so once we hit this, I'm gonna go grab a spoon. You want this to go for about 10 or 12 seconds. Okay, look and see how the colors get distributed. The green looks good and incorporated. Now, before you just rush back and put it into a bowl, here's what you do. Open this up, make sure nothing's coming out the side, and visually take a look in here. Scrape a little bit off the sides. Okay, now see, that is a serrano pepper, or maybe the jalapeno, I'm not sure. That piece is still too big. I don't want it that big. So the purpose of this is just to see, do I have any outlier pieces that are big? So now what I'm doing essentially is just moving this around so that, again, this goes below the blade. Okay, but what I'm gonna also do while I'm in here, you don't wanna use a chip for this. What you wanna do is just try it. I'm checking for the flavor, I'm checking for the salt. I don't use a chip. Why? Chips are salty. I don't want salt on what I'm trying because then I'm gonna overthink that I'm okay with the salt. That's actually perfect. And it's really nice and spicy, and I love it. All right, here we go. Food puree again, probably about 4 or 5 seconds. There's that big chunk right there. Give it a little bang. 3, 4, 5. Done. I know that that's gonna be good now. It's a few hours later, the bandana's gone. Took a shower to get the salsa off of me. But why is that important? It's important because all I do is put it in a bowl. I don't like to try it until it's cold. And I like my chips a little hot. Sometimes I'll even bake them off to get them real nice and crispy. So let's take a look at this final product and give it a try. If you don't want to use your spoon for chips, you could use my little trick where you use 2 chips. 1 chip puts the salsa or the pico on the other one. Little pro tip. Let's give it a try. Dude, this stuff is the bomb, man. There's just no reason why you shouldn't be doing this at home. This cost about $1.70, and I think it's gonna last all week in my house. So I implore you, this is 12 to 15 minutes probably of a video. It doesn't take that long. It's literally 5 minutes to make this homemade pico de gallo. Please make it. Drop a comment if you make it down low. Let me know how it is. And until I see you again, keep cooking.